Thank you all for being here today. It is March 27, 2024. Welcome to the Blue Ribbon Committee for People with Disabilities. And I'd like to call the meeting to order. I know that I don't think we have an agenda on DOI. We don't have a quorum.
No, we don't.
We don't. However, we can still have a meeting.
Yes.
And we just
can't vote on
it. We just can't vote on anything.
Yeah.
There's an element there, an agenda item having to do with the secretary also that we might just select. By the same token, I think that
She's not here, the one we're going to select.
well, we only want to ambush it.
Nominate someone that's not
But
here.
regardless, I think that it would be better if we when we have a full quorum.
Yeah.
I mean, there may be somebody who objects to.
Yeah, I agree.
Check. So I think, in all fairness to everyone. Okay, so call the meeting to order. The approval of minutes for November 15, 2023. Angelica, tell me that we don't have minutes.
No, we don't have minutes? Okay.
There's no secretary.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
Remember,
That's right.
remember also that if we have a quorum, you also don't take minutes either, right?
No, we don't.
They know.
That's right.
That's okay. That's okay. Was the
Okay,
last
so
minute?
we still have some special people.
We're very special people in the house.
Yeah, so we can, okay. So public comment, we go to approve minutes for November 15th. We don't have them, so we're gonna skip that. We're gonna go on to the next item, which is public comments. We have two individuals today. One doesn't want to speak, but of course. And the other, we have Miss Botello, right? Geraldine. We have to see them. Write down your name.
I put it there in the.
So you're an employee of UIC, but you're here to do a presentation today on a specific conference.
Well, I would like to, I guess, involve the community and to be, aware of what UISD is doing for the first time.
Okay.
This is the first.
Geraldine, but tell us, I mean, we know who you are, but tell us who you are, what you do, your role, where you're at, and that's.
Okay, I'm an educator. I've been an educator for the past 20 years with the district, with UISD. Prior to that, I was a nurse. Actually, I did all my completion, my degree, my core for to be a nurse. But then I said, well, let me try it. So I did. I went to as an OBN. And that's when I got connected with so many agencies, so many people helping out in the community. And I learned so many things about giving the opportunity to the patients as a resource. As I transition and I continue educating myself, I have a master's as well in educational diagnosis. So right now I'm currently employed with the Sheriff Center. UISD has this wonderful center that is for the adults. Once they already fulfill all their high school requirements, now they transition to us. Only if they're able to be a little bit more independent, because we take them out into the community for them to learn the skills needed for employment. So we have several classes that we teach, and I also brought this brochure so you can see it and you can know more about our center. We're already in our 13th year with providing these services, but we are still, people don't know about us.
Geraldine, to what age do you all have?
Until 22.
22.
21, 22, depending on what month they enter the 21, 22. So we receive them as soon as they finish their high schools, their 4 years, and then they transition to us if they're eligible. Because we do want them that they need to have more independent skills. We're taking them to a to a setting of jobs. Right now we have them in Fairfield, Fort Rucker, restrooms, they need to transition with the employees.
Now, the classes that you all have are hospitality.
We have, right now, it's business media, and they teach them everything about the business area. We have warehouse, which is also mentioned.
Oh, that's good.
We just opened this new class, culinary arts. That's where most of our students are able to increase their knowledge with the restaurant setting. We also have a retail merchandise, and I am the hotel management teacher. So, in the transitional living, that's where we transition our students into the real life and connect them with resources, bus, transportation, IDs, all that requires for our students to be more independent. Sometimes.
Now, on the employer side, so if there was a host employer, right, you all carry the insurance rider?
Yes.
There's no risk to the employer?
Well, our USD attorneys, they do have principal affidavit.
Okay.
So they have to go to that and have an agreement between the employer and USD.
Okay.
So they have to read it
That's
and
good.
they accept it. But our center is wonderful. Our students are being more showcased, meaning that don't be afraid. Our kids are able to be employed. They are independent and they're extremely responsive. So once we start bringing them into the workforce, they're awesome and they're eager to work.
Yeah.
Now that they're earning, because we teach them, and we at the center have they pay $2. It's just the accumulation of having a paycheck for certain hours, and they love it. From them, they're, I want my paycheck, I'm gonna go buy this. So you see a different type of students once they transition to us. So now this new first conference is gonna be April the 6th. We have guest speakers, and we have one of our guest speakers would be Ms. Molina. She's one of our board, but she's also connected with, very connected with the autism community. Yes. And you hear her history, you're going to be able to understand. Most of our speakers have a connection, or they have a story that they're connecting their their diagnosis with something that is related to positive, and something positive that they're doing in their lives. So, like I mentioned, it's the first time that we're promoting it, but it's mostly for parents from USD. So, if you know somebody from USD and they do have a connection with special needs, we're encouraging them to come and hear. Plus, we're trying to see if we can have more community members involved. We do have some tables that are going to be like an exhibition type. So you can provide some information, and so they can be more aware. Right now, we really need the awareness.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and I hope that's somebody. I don't know if you have any questions for me or.
I have a question.
Yes.
Can our group set up a table with information?
This year, oh yes.
Please. Yep.
Yes, definitely. I'll ask Mr. Lopez. Mr. Lopez is our director from the Sheriff Center, and of course, our executive is Ms. De Los Santos. And Ms. De Los Santos is always supporting anything that the city.
We just started a few minutes ago, so we won't get before this.
Yeah.
Do you have some extra time?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that way we can make preparations
Yes.
to set up.
So we could probably also participate, since we offer the different therapies in case anyone's interested, so.
Yes, there's a number, I know that, like, there's a number there. You can also, I can give you Mr. Lopez. Mr. Lopez is our director for the Sheriff Center. And like I said, we are encouraging people to be more involved, so they can know, all these services are in the radio. This past week,
I'm sorry,
this
go ahead.
past week, I just found out some services from the fire department, that are provided to some people we have to be, like, even us, we're learning. So anything that any operations in our local community, it's going to be so beneficial to our students and to the parents.
Is this program share registered a nonprofit?
Sure.
It's part of you.
Oh, it's UISD, I'm sorry, yes.
We're part of UISD.
I don't know if you're already invited. Also, I know our counselor, Ms. Leslie Perez from Transition,
Yes,
is going to
Transition.
be,
Yes.
or if she can't go, then somebody from VR.
And as a matter of fact, we already have also Ceci Gutierrez coming in and providing some services for some of our students to encourage them to be more independent and also employability skills. So they're going into the center as well.
Are you inviting also employers to maybe know about?
That employers would be great for the inclusion part,
For the
you know,
inclusion
the
part of-
advocacy of inclusion.
We do have already some employers that are already accepting our students. We have Big Lots, we have, like I mentioned, for workers, NC Suites, we have local, but there we know. But once we start doing those outreach, they're gonna start understanding more about our center. So sometimes we also do it individually, more on the side with the sheriff center.
Oh.
Because we're the adults handling our students going out into the community.
Now, would this platform be a good platform for those employers who would like to become a site? Would this be a good,
Yes. And like I mentioned, I know right now they already did the agenda and they were already connected with Christina Reyes, but I know that she transitioned. She already transitioned.
Yeah, that doesn't mean the services go away, the services are here at the health department.
So I know that she was gonna bring in resources, some of our resources from the Cedar Lorraine. As long as we are able to, integrate ourselves with this would be awesome.
Yeah.
And you mentioned, Kate, that you guys finally were able to get into like warehousing or is a warehouse?
that's what I was.
Right now, this is our first year actually to establish that class warehousing.
And you already have a job site for?
Not yet. We're looking for job sites right now. We're still.
And I'm asking this because in itself, I work with individuals that are blind and visually impaired, and very unfortunately, for somebody that's maybe completely blind, it's not very accessible just yet. But if we see other cities that have like an individual that is completely blind, usually prospers in something that is like assembly, something like a warehouse, and if you just by thinking about the sheriff then getting into that can then down the road open the doors for other. Because I just got in San Antonio, one of my customers moved to San Antonio, and he was hired by Amazon, and he's completely blind, and they've gone above and beyond to work with him and to do accommodations, and it's like, can I get a warehouse here? Pretty sure that we're like a hub for the import.
Us being the number one inland port,
and if this individual was able to get all of a job, a good paying job, and then accommodations and
that would be an awesome story to record and see it, and so local warehouses, can start seeing.
And that's what I'm trying to do. He sent me his job placement specialist sent me pictures and videos, just because Amazon is very picky about people going in. You have to get very special permissions. But his job placement specialist was able to send me pictures, and I shared with him our agency. I shared that video,
That's
and
awesome.
we were just like, what? Because sometimes they don't even understand what I do as a counselor. Like the other counselors don't imagine the type of service that happens.
Does anybody know, or maybe Eugene, I thought certain employers would get tax breaks if they hire people with disabilities.
They do.
Maybe we can plug it like that, because everybody's looking for a tax break.
Yeah.
you know? So to see if we can get more of the students, because, I mean, I service a lot of the warehousing. I mean, Jeannie Sarita is the president of the
Sure.
Development Foundation. So maybe a collective effort, we can try to find some employers, because you're right. Well, warehousing and distribution is the way to go.
Yeah.
Right now, everything's Amazon based, everything is, you know, packing, repacking, labeling,
Online,
shipping, tracking,
ticketing.
everything, it's taking over. And so I service a lot of the warehouses that do just that. And you don't have to be, you know, you just have to know how to write, you just have to know how to, maybe not even write because everything's on tablets now,
computer, yeah.
but count, at least count, scan.
Like the ticketers that they call, right?
Yeah.
Ticketing and you know what? A lot of individuals with disabilities thrive there because that they like the don't change things up. You know, this is what I can do.
Like
I'm
after the
really
initial
good.
trainings and then,
Yeah.
and even for somebody like all disabilities, because if we have our job placement specialists and for disabilities that, you know, require a little bit more assistance, like for this customer, of course, he uses a white cane, but of course, he didn't know the layout yet of Amazon. They were able to let our O&M, orientation mobility provider, go in, do some training sessions so he can get used to the building, where does he go take a break, to the restroom, his area, and then we had a trainer to just also
there,
to see
yeah.
whatever he needs, assistive technology-wise. We're able to provide that, but also Amazon there, because of course they're the bigger company, they provided themselves like out of their pocket like a lot of accommodations that we as an agency can ultimately also provide, right?
Yes.
But in that area, they decided to do that on their own, and then just working together and making all of that happen. So.
But like, is there some kind of like a letter or some kind of presentation, or do we just go and, you know
You know
for
what
us
I
to be
think
able
needs to
go to the
happen now?
employers?
Sorry, now that you have the warehouse portion in there, you know, us, you know, as a Blue Ribbon Committee, right? We find those community partners, right, that would like to, but we can host a small symposium for employers and do that whole presentation. How do you get the tax break? What do you need to do? Because you all have that training, Martha, at VR. What do we need to do? And that way we can get the ball rolling so that your program could be successful. And ultimately, all our goal is inclusion.
Yes.
Right? I mean, that's what we're all advocating for.
For our program and the workforce also.
Yes, for sure.
Yes.
And they're never gonna turn you down for lack of money. They got a big bag of money.
All right.
Yeah. No, I'm telling you, as long as they have a qualified disability, they got a big bag of money. You're never gonna be turned down.
Yeah, see, and then I can approach, you know, my customers and then get these kids working, and, you know,
Yes.
so that they can feel fulfilled
Yes.
and, you know, part of society.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
In our last autism coalition, there is a parent also, but she's also involved in the coalition meeting. She did mention that his son, as a matter of fact, Mr. Lambert and myself, we were talking about it, that her son is currently working at a warehouse. So he would be the role model, with the permission of the parents, to record all his activities. And that would be so beneficial for other companies and for the incoming companies to understand, you know, their abilities as well and the responsibilities to reach out.
Yeah. And the wages are going up. Surprisingly, the wages are already at
They like
$13,
money.
$15 an hour.
That's money, so.
Yeah, that's good money.
Yes, it is.
Thank you. Thank you.
And not only that, but through vocational rehabilitation, right? If it's a right fit and that individual with that diagnosed disability is needing that job coach, right? They've got the job coaches too, so it's a full package right here.
So yeah, we have all the ideas, we have everything, but nobody's taking notes. So how are we gonna get this ball?
No, I got notes.
You got notes?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So the next steps I think would be, and we'll talk to the health department, we can even host it here, right? This room is big enough, you think, for us to do a business symposium. It's gonna be like a pilot program business symposium to educate, have them understand. I mean, I can chime in, I'm sure you all would come in let's get an agenda going and those, identify those speakers and then we can host it
Cause
here.
you know what, cause also very important, guys, how do you call them guys? Summer's coming, and that's when parents get most anxious because their kids are just at home doing nothing.
And they have the
And they
summer earn and
regress.
learn. They have the summer earn and learn.
Yeah, see, so we
We're
need to
always
get,
participating in
Yes.
that.
we need to get on it.
But do you have a presentation that you already provide to the employers?
Well, the last time we had one here, it's a sensitivity training slash, we tailor depending on who's coming in. We've done some for managers. We can most definitely do another one. I know what was happening recently, like the last couple of years, they were trying to bring more regional staff to do those presentations, like not necessarily like before that I used to do the blind and visually impaired component and then another one. But again, given that I can most definitely then talk to my manager and say, Mr. Herrera, we're trying to do like a business symposium. It would be kind of like a first one so that employers can start getting their feet wet into asking the questions. Because if I can share a little bit, when I became a counselor about 12 years ago, one of my very first trainings was like a meeting where you could ask anything. Like it wasn't we're gonna be judged on because I know some people are afraid of
Who lack the knowledge of the people first language and all of that.
yeah, so it was a meeting where this is a meeting where you can ask questions just as how you think. Just sometimes like you mentioned the language, and we actually in that training we had people that were employed, we had customers attending, like wanting to share their story, and we could ask anything like, so how do you get? Because some people can't imagine like how do you get up in the morning and make your breakfast? Like they were just somebody was just wondering because as an employer, somebody might think, how will this person be able to, they can't imagine
And even me, just real short and sweet, because I know we're dragging this thing on, but in one of those trainings, what I learned too was, if someone is born with that disability, so say they're born and into that wheelchair, it's a part of their body. So if you go and you're leaning up on it or touching it, they feel like, hey, we don't know that unless somebody educates us, right? So
It's kind of their
it's part of,
space.
it's like their personal space.
So it could be something like that, tailored of course for businesses to ask their questions and
Yeah, because I get scared, because I've asked before.
Yeah.
Not just recently, but a while back.
Sure.
And they, that they're gonna get sued, the liability.
And you're gonna have the right, accommodations, and if you don't, you're gonna get in trouble.
Yeah.
I know
Who
that.
pays for that? Because employers feel like, hey, I'm responsible for it. Well, no. If they're through the vocational rehabilitation program and have that diagnosed disability and are qualified, they've got all those resources.
Yeah.
So you know what? I think the spin on this needs to be Joe, right? Get with Joe, let him know we had this conversation, plant the seed, and then we call just another meeting, not necessarily a BRC meeting, but it started here at the BRC. Let's have another meeting, get our ducks in a row, and then we set dates, times, and then who those speakers will be, right?
There you go. I like the way you think.
Yeah, I've been around.
That's amazing.
There you go. We need action.
Our sessions is that parents are going to be talking. Parents, and that's where you need to also include a parent or that's when they can ask, well, can they do this? Well, how do you do this with our students? Or they're the ones that really can tell you how we can definitely tell you how they do at work because we have the recommendation observations and how they do in their classes.
Right.
But once they're home, my God, the parents are amazed.
They don't know,
They're amazed that they go, we didn't know Ms. Odell, they could do all this.
So the idea of your conference is also to educate your parents primarily as to the capacity and abilities of their kids.
Yes.
Because at home they're
They
allowed to
shelter.
be babied, okay?
Or they need shelter. And it's normal because all their lives, they've been, learning about their child's abilities.
Yes, that's
But
right.
once they come to us, we say, let's yes. And the students, my God, they're like, we're independent. Okay,
So
we're for shopping.
can we agree that you will speak to your supervisor and make sure that maybe he'd be.
Yeah, just to know who would be the speaker, so we could know who would provide some
And
of
that's
those.
something else so that you can do
Yeah.
the presentation.
regarding your new programs. And then those employers are gonna be here to soak all that in as to, oh, okay. And then we can get some momentum going because, I mean, we've tried, right? We're not gonna say we haven't
We are
tried.
actually in YouTube right now. If you Google Share Center 10th-year anniversary,
Mhm.
it explains the foundation, who opened it, who were the persons, who were the founders. It explains about all the classes, and it explains what the program is, the Share Center. We can just present that. Also, we can present everything, well, our director and our executive director, they can come in and explain to the audience about the service and how Cherish and how other services within the community, within the district, are, updating and always current with the new.
Staying up with
Yes.
the what's up.
With what is
Yes.
the new trends.
Yes, the other thing is, this could be a good platform. When do you want to start this deal, Martha?
This year, I think information just went out. It's gonna be around the middle of June. No, wait. I know it's gonna end that week before school starts. It's gonna end just that, so then,
Maybe 12 weeks.
Because this could be, a good platform to bring those employers and educate them too. That way, when you've got the individual with a disability, we now have educated the employer and we can connect, right? I think this would be a great platform to start that too, because it's there. There's no cost. I mean, it's.
and I know with since for the summer and learn, we also have workforce solutions, the board involved in that, like,
Yes.
as part of their
From the
contract,
employer.
they do from the employer. But I do know that this year, I heard something that they're focusing more on the industries that workforce usually needs to tap into, like the top industries. And there was a lot of that, like the warehouse, forklift operator, some of those job industries that they want to
Tap into.
more, because that's ultimately what is right now showing that will
There's a
generate
need.
the most income.
Yeah, there's a need.
Dr. Rusinger.
What I'm asking is it possible to include the VACs from those districts? Because that would be a great thing for the children, the students who are getting ready to complete their high school program. And the VACs are aware of what's going on with all of the possible opportunities in the community. That would be great.
Yes, we have 4 VACs for each high school, and they're the ones that let us know when the summer stills are coming in. They provide us the information from the workforce solution, and they're connected with all the community resources available. Yes.
Okay, so it's getting close to 12, and other people have other things to do, so
Yes.
you'll go ahead and move on that.
Yes.
And then go back to us, and then we'll have you in mind, and we'll give you a call.
Yes.
Get in touch with you.
Yes, thank you.
And then just let us know, Martha, what we can do and what you need from us.
But there were a lot of good ideas, so.
Yeah. Productive meeting.
Yes.
So,
Very productive meeting.
Just to give you all insight as to who Ms. Botello is, it turns out that her sister, Angie, Hosan worked for me like 25 years ago.
Wow.
And
Many years.
she started one of the very first supported housing programs for people with mental health issues and behavioral. And we used to go out into the community and help people with budgeting, grocery shopping, and doing the laundry and budgeting, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so I was telling Angie that, things have changed a lot in mental health. Okay, the mental health medications of today are miraculous medications. Okay, they're miracles. drugs, okay, compared to it when I was there, okay? And so initially, when I first started, there was we had 3 or 4 patients that had a history of being quite violent, okay? And so we would take them under our wings, and our staff was very good. We had like 10 employees that were excellent employees. They never cared. They didn't care how violent they were. They didn't care anything about their past. They didn't care anything. They would just work with them. And surprisingly, many of our mentally ill patients, most severe and patients, did remarkably well in the community with little assistance. And you know, and some of our patients who had historically had been very violent had beat up half of the staff, okay? And people didn't want to work with them. It turned out that they were you can tell when somebody's been brought up in a household where there was rules and there was a lot of parental guidance and assistance and respect for people. And you would see that come out in them, and it was like amazing. It was like a total transformation. So, Angie and her staff and the staff that we had at that time were part of that group. And so,
let me explain to Mr. Castillo that the reason that we're so involved with this population is that I had a brother who was serviced during the 1950s, 60s, 70s. So we went through there was no law with education until the public law came in to do inclusion. And 73. So my mom had to either 2 options, institutions or home. So we went with home. So we learned. It was training at home.
Yeah.
Nobody trained us, except some resources from Border Region that was mental health and retardations. So we have a very strong foundation on how to overcome obstacles. So that's why my sister was able to service. Well, back then, you hear them right now, they get intimidated, schizophrenia, mental illness, bipolars, manics. Back then, they did have the diagnosis, but the training wasn't as expanded as it is right now.
That's right.
So right now, we were the founding ladies, actually, because all of us, we were like, okay, where do we go? How do we service? So my sister would tell me so many stories. And I said, wow, you're so brave. So yes.
Well, our group was very they were very committed to their job and,
Yes.
and the patients that we had,
Yes.
the clients that we had. You know, I can tell you that we had clients that were, we could just say when their needs weren't met, they turned violent. And a lot of staff said, I will not work with so-and-so. I will not work with them. Okay. And I had an employee who told me at one point, it's either that client or me decide, because I'm not going to work with them. I said, well then, there's the door. I'm not going to.
Deny the service.
Yeah,
It's hard.
And so,
It's very interesting services.
and so things have changed a lot since the 1990s. Okay.
Even 19.
Then you had the development of new generation medications, and I got to see people who were transformed from being extraordinarily psychotic and delusional. And all of a sudden they became different human beings, and you were like, where is this person all these years? And the illness sometimes covers who their real personality is. And you realize that there's a real human being with real feelings who grew up with a lot of rules in their homes, and they grew up with parents who taught them how to respect other people, and it surfaces once they're better and once they're able to make those kinds of reasoning and decisions. And so it was a real eye-opening experience for me. It was like, wow. And so I'm sure that for many employees that have been around for the last 25 or 30 years, it's been real transformational.
The
improvement.
blessing that we have so much now as compared to our past experience.
Very hard.
So,
Yeah.
so just to,
Much advancement.
I know there's a lot of history there that you all didn't want to hear, but
No, it's good. It's all informational.
We're connected.
Yeah.
okay, so then we move on to the next area, which is the appointment of the committee secretary. We're gonna wait till the next meeting, and we have a forum. And since he's here, we don't want to ambush her. And for those of you who may not know, Christine Reyes is no longer here. Okay, she had a call from her. She apparently got a state job and is now in Corpus, or will be in Corpus.
Wish her well.
In addition to that, she was
amazing
hired
too.
by the people from, I think, Oregon.
Morgan's Wonderland.
Because they start a new program in Corpus as well.
Oh, wow.
She,
She's working for Morgan.
yes, the two ladies that were here.
Yes, they loved her. I'm pretty
So
sure.
they were very impressed.
That's good. Good for her.
Yes, good.
Change is always good.
And needless to say, while she was here, I was very impressed with her.
Oh,
The amount of information, she was so committed to her job. So
All the,
I
gave so much of her time.
I told her on behalf of the committee that we thank her for all her input and all her information. And all her rest of it, she was very committed. So I think, it was very apparent that somebody who needed somebody like that would make her an offer and take her. So
Yeah.
Good
Take
for
her
her.
away.
anyway, so Christine is not here, and I was just told that Kathleen Chavez is not here today. They're out somewhere else. So we don't have reports from them, those two ladies, so that will have to wait till the following week. So I guess that I'm moving on to announcements. Anybody getting married, having a baby,
Having a divorce, we'll celebrate. All is good.
Just quickly, Wednesday, April the 3rd, our Foundation Leaf, which is the acronym for the Radio Educational Autism Foundation, will be having a lighted up blue event at North Central Park, and you all are most cordially invited. There you go.
just in case you don't know, that's Miss Hinojosa, right?
Yes, Lisa Hinojosa.
Thank you. It's gonna be further in June, but we're gonna have that camp for special needs children that we wish we would have them more often. But that this year's theme is Let's Get Groovy. And we have a lot of participation from the community, a lot of sponsors, and it's a whole day of just the children enjoying the day, but also the parents and the caregivers get to drop off their children and have that day for themselves, as you know, much needed. So, and we've been approached by some county commissioners about having this more times during the year. Together with South Texas Development Council, of course, it's a grant that we participate.
That's great.
We get, so we're looking forward to that, and we'll give you more information on that as well.
Thank you.
And just to share how we were talking about the summer earn and learn, where the transition counselors are gearing for that, and then if us adult counselors have some at the college level that meet the requirements to participate in summer earn and learn, we're already in the planning stages. So I think right now is when we're getting the referrals. The counselors are going out into the schools, or somebody that is not. Now, of course, just keep in mind, for you to participate, you do have to be a customer of vocational rehab services, or at least potentially eligible for this to happen, and of course within a time frame, right? Like if they go in a day before, like I want to start tomorrow, it's not going to work out that way. So if you have anybody that you know of that's between the ages of 14 to 22, refer them to vocational rehab services. And hopefully right now that we're still already April, but it will maybe give enough time to, you know, to move that customer through the process and to activate their case and that they can then participate.
Is the wage 11.10 like last year?
I think so. I wouldn't specifically know right now. We haven't had the official meeting, but it usually stays the same. Like it usually stays that way.
Wait, not that question. Regarding the year-round work experience, are you all still doing that? Is it still that program
Yes,
available?
and for that one, again, depending on whoever comes in, maybe they're not going to be ready for the summer and learn based on the time frames because we usually have a deadline. Like by this, we need to know the customer, then they can be referred to do the year round, and then of course the same look at jobs.
So would you let Joe know that for that particular symposium that we want to plan, that we have the conversation on the year-round, so that when we educate those employers and they know, right, that you have that year-round work experience for those qualifying individuals, and whoever can do a presentation on that would be great.
Yeah.
Because the idea with that one is, so it's 3 months, right?
It can be up to 3 months.
It
It can be less.
Say they do customer service, right? But you know what? Jose blew it out of the park. So guess what, Jose? You're not going to be doing the same job, but let's try you over here at the warehouse for another 3 months, right? And the whole idea is for that individual to be hired. But it's kind of like the seal. It gets paid for, and they pay really good wages. They're really good wages that they get paid. It's not minimum wage.
The warehouses?
I mean, it's all
It depends on,
employers.
so how it works, the work experience is, it can be up to 12 weeks.
That's what I remember.
Based on, there's the entry level wage, there's the intermediate and the advanced.
Yes.
I had example, advanced, it has to be somebody, of course, that already has a certification. For example, I had a registered nurse do a work experience just because based on her disability, her vision deteriorated a little bit more, and she was trying to regain her confidence back. So to get her foot again in the door, and for her and employer to see, well, is she needing some assistance? Is she lacking in some areas? That work experience helps her, and then it also helps you in your resume. And if the employer likes her after those 3 months, you can most definitely then offer her a job and hire her as an asset.
I know we've hired a couple from the work experience. There was a young lady, and she was with us for a while. She was in a wheelchair, and but then she went on to get her master's, and it was really more in finances, not accounting. So I think she went on and transitioned into one of the local banks.
And you see, like it serves as
Because got the experience there, and then one of our board members who was one of the branch managers, she was doing some work for us there for the board and everything, and so she was able to get that.
So through the work experience, you can service all the different capacities. For those entry level that they've never worked, I have a young lady right now working at I think it's a Walgreens, and because she never worked, because she mentioned she's 30, and she said, I thought I couldn't do it. So I was like, are you ready? Let's do this work experience. You can have a job trainer for the first 2 weeks. Depending on how you feel, we can stop the job trainer, we can continue, get the feedback from the employer, get the feedback from the trainer. And she's doing great. She's like, I didn't know I could do this. Or it's just that fear that, not putting
It's like everything else, the fear of the unknown,
Both sides.
right?
The
Yeah.
employer